Nobody is coming to save us here in Canada. Not a Liberal government and not a Conservative one either.
Canada fucking sucks.
Canada is falling apart faster than you think.
These people exist because of us. The politicians that allow this, they have those positions because of us.
I don't know what we're going to do, guys. I don't know what the fuck.
Because in Canada, self-defense laws are practically a joke.
This is the biggest fraud in the history of, I think, the world.
Welcome back to Canadian Rant, where we say the things politicians, media, and corporations hope you never notice. Canada is getting poorer, not just feels poorer, actually poorer. And while Canadians struggle to pay rent, buy groceries, and survive on shrinking paychecks, politicians are standing at podiums telling you everything is fine. They call it strong fundamentals. They call it temporary pressure. They call it a global issue. But for millions of Canadians, this is not a statistic. This is daily survival. Today, we're exposing the uncomfortable truth they don't want you to know. Nobody is coming to save Canadians.
Nobody is coming to save us here in Canada. Not a Liberal government and not a Conservative one either. Nobody in Ottawa is riding in on a white horse to fix this mess.
If we want freedom, we're going to have to build it ourselves.
That means starting local businesses, growing our own food, and not consuming lab-grown garbage. It means using natural health remedies, not just popping whatever big pharma tells us to.
It means staying active, lifting heavy, and keeping our bodies strong, because weak people don't win their freedom.
It means bartering, supporting local, and building community outside of broken systems. It means homeschooling or supplementing your kids' education so that they actually learn how to think. It means cutting debt, owning tools, and learning skills that actually matter.
This is the common sense comeback, a return to strength, sovereignty, and self-reliance.
Because the truth is, the system is not designed to save you. It's designed to keep you dependent. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for policy. Start doing something right now to build freedom in your own life. Grow something, barter something, lift something, start something. Because if you do, you are going to help save Canada.
I am so sick of the lies. Are we not sick of this shit? Are we not sick of them just lying to our faces and using their tools to change history and change narratives like we're a bunch of second-class citizens? These people exist because of us. The politicians that allow this, they have those positions because of us. And they use their power over and over and over again to lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, gaslight all of us. The people behind this should be in jail today. They should be arrested today.
Hello there. Imagine living in a city where public transportation is almost useless. You can rely on it to get to work, go shopping, or even run basic errands. So owning a car becomes a necessity. You pay hundreds of dollars every month for your car insurance, trusting that if something happens, your ass will be covered. But one night your alarm goes off and you realize that someone is stealing your car. You can't grab a gun and shoot the thief's balls off, because in Canada, self-defense laws are practically a joke. Even if you own a legal gun, using it for self-defense will almost always land you in jail. Prosecutors, legislators, and police claim that restricting self-defense reduces violence. So if something happens, don't get interfered, step back, call the cops, and let them handle it. So your car gets stolen while you're just standing there watching. The police eventually arrive, take a report, and you inform your insurance company about the theft. Then you just wait. And then the insurance company tells you they won't cover the cost of replacing it. Later you discover the police closed the case because there are thousands of similar cases across the city and they don't have enough resources to handle it all. Even if they catch the thief, the court will likely release him on bail, allowing him to steal more cars as soon as he is out. How the hell is this even possible in Canada? What kind of global epidemic of responsibility is this? And how do we cure it?
Anybody else having a fucking mentee bee when they walk into the grocery store? Because I sure as hell am, because every time I fucking walk in there, the prices are so fucking jacked up, it is impossible to fucking live. Man, impossible. Gas goes up 5 to 7 cents per fucking day. This is ridiculous. I work hard. I went to fucking school, got my education, pay my fucking bills, bought my kids a house, did everything that I'm responsible as a fucking adult and a parent. And my fucking paychecks are taxed up the fucking ass, and I can barely afford to live with my fucking kids. How is this fair? How is this fair? I would love to know how government officials think this is okay. Meanwhile, while they're sitting in their fucking beautiful homes, their fucking vacations, and not having to worry about a single goddamn cent that they fucking spent. But here I am, crunching everything down to the last fucking nickel to make sure we can survive. I don't know how any of us are gonna do it. Any of us. I do my fucking taxes. I pay my fucking taxes. I do everything I'm supposed to fucking do. And what? This little fucking $100 and something I'm gonna get in April from the government is supposed to fucking make up for it? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna fucking cover my kids' school snacks for sure. For fucking sure. I feel sorry for all of us. All of us. I can't believe the world we're fucking living in. I can't believe this. I don't know how we're going to fucking survive, guys. Really don't understand, because you have one emergency happen. Your fucking car breaks down. You end up sick, you have to take a couple days off, but you've already used up your sick days because you already gotten sick this year. So you're just out money. You're out your hourly wage, you're out your daily wage, you're out. And where are you going to make that up? You can't. You can't make it up legally anyways. Apparently the fucking government just wants us to move fucking bricks to make ends meet. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. That we have to do this. That we have to live like this. Half of us can't even afford a fucking... You see the prices of fucking turkeys? Over $60 for the baby turkey. The small turkey. I bought 3 fucking turkeys for the price of that in the fall. And I do this so I can ration food and make it last longer. Like meal prep or take the turkey apart and freeze some. Like I do fucking everything possible to pinch fucking pennies and to make things last. We don't waste. I fucking do it all. And here I am at the fucking grocery store buying a $30 pack of hamburger that's going to last us one meal. I don't know what we're going to do, guys. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do to survive. Because at this rate, we fucking aren't.
Canada is falling apart faster than you think. We used to believe something about Canada. We believe that if you work hard, follow the rules, get an education, you'll be fine. Maybe not rich, but stable. I think that belief is dead, and not in a dramatic way, quietly, structurally, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Canada is not just going through a rough patch. It's getting poorer per person in real terms. That's the first lie we need to kill. When politicians point to GDP growth, they're technically telling the truth. The economy is bigger, but the reason it's bigger is because we imported millions of people. Your slice of the pie is actually smaller. Between 2020 and 2024, GDP per person in Canada dropped more than at any point since the Great Depression. That's not just like a vibe, that's data. So if you feel like you're working harder just to stay in the same place, that's because you are. And the system is designed to gaslight you about it. Just like me in relationships. Now, here's where it gets worse.
Canada has been completely destroyed by the Liberal government. These globalist asset management firms like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, NGOs and think tanks like the Century Initiative, founded by a guy named Mark Wiseman, who's been directly influencing our immigration policy for 10 years, who is also a former executive at BlackRock. And these people's goal is to destroy anything that's left of Canadian culture, because Canadian culture, nationalism, anyone with a protectionist ideology is coming in direct way of these people making money. Wanting to defend your culture, wanting to restore things back to the way they used to be, is getting in the way of the plan, and these people are a lot more powerful than you, a lot stronger than you. These people are living for the world, they're living for the material gain, and these people will go where the money is. That's why you even see Mark Carney's own Liberal MPs getting mad at him for allowing this MOU with Danielle Smith. Because these people think that it's actually about net zero for climate purposes. It's bullshit. No, it's about building a global investment framework, like the financial alliance Mark Carney founded, GFANS, actually empowers these asset management firms and allows them to profit off the decarbonization. Brookfield was deforesting the Amazon, releasing something like, I can't remember the exact number, but 160 million metric tons of carbon a year. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. They do not care. These people are lying to you.
Canada fucking sucks. Like, have you ever seen a nice car driving down the road, like a Lamborghini? And you're like, how the fuck could he afford that? Now I get it. If you're a doctor or a dentist and you make all your money in Canada, you can't move anywhere or else you're not going to make any money. But if you're an entrepreneur and you make good enough money to, own a nice house and own a Lamborghini, and you live in Canada, you might be a little fucked in the head.
History has a way to repeating itself if you're able to see the patterns. Civilizations don't collapse because of one given event. For example, Rome fractured over time due to endless conflicts, societal breakdowns, and systems that stopped serving the people.
Now look at the world today. Wars are stacking on top of wars between governments and civilizations. Societies are being split into multiple layers of division. Reality is being filtered, censored, and argued instead of understood. When a system needs constant control to survive, it's already failing.
Collapse isn't chaos at first. It's confusion and seeing small changes over time. It's people sensing something is wrong, but being told everything is fine. If this resonates with you, hit the follow button, guys.
This is the biggest fraud in the history of, I think, the world. The thing in Minnesota, daycares, tens of millions, has nothing on this. I'm talking about almost 300 billion with a B, billion dollars spent on Aboriginal programs over the last 10 years, and nobody knows where it went. The communities are deteriorating. Life expectancy is down. Where is this money? So let's talk about this. Last year, the budget on Indigenous programs, and I'm doing that in quotations for a reason, which I'll explain, was over $32 billion. Okay, for context, our national defense budget for the entire country, our entire national defense budget was $26 billion. We spent more on Aboriginal programs last year than the entire defense budget of the country. This is your money, by the way, your tax dollars. So they claim we spent the $32 billion last year and many billions more prior to cover things like water, housing, infrastructure. There's a big problem though. We didn't cover any of that because these communities are still struggling with fresh water. They can't get clean drinking water. They're rampant crime, drugs, alcohol abuse, serious problems. These communities, they're so mad, they're taking back land with land claims, which we've all seen in British Columbia and all these other areas. So we spent $300 billion to do nothing for these communities, piss them off more, and have them come back and take land back. Now, back in the good days of Stephen Harper, he passed some really good common sense legislation, which said, hey, we are going to pass some legislation to ensure the accountability and transparency for First Nations. That was the act that he passed. It said, hey, all this money we're spending, it seems to magically disappear and nobody knows where it's going. We give it to various heads of groups and associations and charities and nonprofits, but the money disappears. Let's make it mandatory that they have to publish where the money is being spent. Let's have open financials, audits. So they did that and they found rampant fraud. So there was sanctions placed against a lot of these groups that were receiving the money saying you can't get any more government money. Guess what happened when Trudeau came into power? Not only did they didn't repeal the act, but they said they'd stop enforcing it and they dropped all sanctions against the First Nations communities. So everyone that we found out was basically stealing the money. It wasn't actually making it to the community. It was getting lost along the way. We stopped sending the money and Trudeau said, no problem. We're going to drop those. We will keep sending you tens and tens of billions of dollars. That should be investigated because why? Where is that money going? Whose pockets did it end up? We're not talking about $10 million. We're talking about almost $300 billion. That is massive. That is like 10% of our annual spending as a country across everything. It's big. Now, a typically left-leaning news outlet called The Atlantic, which, by the way, I have no affiliation with at all, they wrote a very good article on this whole thing, if you want to read more. It's called Good Intentions Gone Bad, and they tell you a lot more than I can share in this short video, but it explains the problem of how this money essentially has disappeared and just created a worse situation for everybody. This affects every single Canadian. This is $300 billion of your money, and it affects every single Aboriginal community. So if you care about any of that, you should care about this.
As Canada enters 2026, the economic reckoning it long tried to delay is now unavoidable. This is no longer cyclical weakness. It is structural failure built over years of bad policy, institutional complacency, and economic denial. If no serious course correction is made, what does Canada's economic landscape look 5 to 10 years from now?
We had a major productivity collapse through the late 2010s, basically under Trudeau into the mid 2020s. We have this thing called stagflation that's happening now, which is when the economy stagnant, but inflation remains high, which means you've got some real structural problems. This has happened for a number of reasons, but from a government perspective, it's really been misallocation of capital. We've had a major overdependence on a narrow export base, which is what we were talking about with China. I'm going, it's 5% of our exports. Who even cares? It's focusing on the wrong things at the wrong time and allowing the state to grow faster than the economy that has to sustain it. And this is what's been happening over the last 10 years, but now you're seeing this sort of come to fruition in a lot of ways. So the government has the capacity to manipulate data constantly to sort of suit their needs and make the economy look better than it is or worse than it is, depending on which side of the fence you're on. We've hit this point, though, where they can't really manipulate the CPI anymore. The unemployment has now climbed to 6.8%. So if we get to 8%, that's usually followed by catastrophe. We're also seeing GDP contraction. We had the largest GDP contraction in several years since maybe COVID in October 2025 at 0.3%. But also Canadian households are already among the most indebted in the world. So we're reaching a breaking point. We don't have any money that we can leverage or borrow. And the thing is, with interest rates still relatively high and the amount of high volume of outgoing government spending, policymakers essentially are unable to stimulate the economy without basically renewed pricing pressure. And to make matters worse, when Carney got in government, they said they were going to cut down the public service by 10%. Now they're saying maybe 5%. That's a huge difference. You've got a major housing issue now, especially because you're keeping up with the immigration issues as well. So the asset that people have, or their opportunity to have an asset, is continually out of reach. Over 4,000 net restaurants are expected to close in Canada this year, primarily an Ontario problem, but this is in addition to another 7,000 from last year. How recessions deepen is not really through a single collapse, but through 1,000 small failures. That's usually what this looks like, and that's what we're seeing here. And then you kind of look at this trade shock situation, right? So the USMCA was already kind of fragile. I'm under the impression that they were going to renew it in some sense because Trump is the one that put the USMCA in place. It basically replaced NAFTA during his first term. So he's like, okay, well, Trump put this in, Trump's going to keep it. Like, you can bank on his ego allowing that to happen. But we've made it so untenable. Both sides have made this very difficult. But now with this, looking east and getting deeper into bed with China, the USMCA is getting further and further away. Now Trump's like, I don't even see any point for it whatsoever. This is a huge problem. Trillions of dollars of trade are happening under this agreement. Like, small businesses think they're getting hit now. The tariffs don't include things under the USMCA. If that happens, this economy's totally... We're on this downhill slope, but we don't have a break on the toboggan, and we're already going downhill, and it's a double black diamond. Good luck slowing this down. And now we're getting deeper into bed with China. We're going to be very, very desperate very, very soon, and I don't know what we can do other than print another boatload of money, and we know how that turned out.
So it's happened, Canada. The Trojan horse that's been building for some time has finally happened. So Canada, federal police have launched criminal investigation now into IDF soldiers living in Canada, charging under War Criminal Acts. This is insane. I said years ago that slowly but surely, people coming into this country with different agendas than what's been the agenda of the Canadian population and Canadian people for hundreds of years, were slowly working their way into governments, into agencies, and now it's happened. So they pulled the trigger. And this is the beginning of a very slippery, scary slope. And those of you who voted for Carney, this is what you get. Maybe some of you like this, but it's not good. IDF soldiers being charged with war criminals living in Canada, war crimes living in Canada. This is unbelievably disgusting. We can't get this government out of here fast enough, and it might be too late. I'm telling you guys, in 5 years, we will be looking like the UK and a lot of other places in Europe, which is not a good thing. And we're in for some rough roads ahead and really bad things. I mean, we've got people who are unaliving Jews in the street at peaceful protests. It makes no sense. The world is upside down, and Canada is going to hell in a handbasket really quick.
So Canada, another PSYOP is on your horizon. We've had a conservative MP, I should say, is he a conservative or is he a mole? So I've been saying this for about 5 years now. 100% of the Liberal Party is completely sold out to foreign interference. China, India, the World Economic Forum, and we all know Xi Jinping is like super good with Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum as well, and we've heard Justin Trudeau say how simplistic their dictatorship is and how he would like to put that into Canada, and his dream is definitely coming true. But then you ding-dongs literally like elected his handler, aka Mark Carney, who pretty much suggested to the government, because he's a bankster, that if you designate the trucker convoy a terrorist, they can go in and pretty much, ban everybody's bank accounts. And now you have a conservative MP who was born in Hong Kong, came here at the age of 12, and we all know how the MSS works. And if you don't know who the MSS is, it's the Chinese spy party. Basically, its own citizens are considered all part of the MSS because they never actually leave the Chinese party. Even if they move to Canada, they're constantly watched. Didn't we also have a Chinese military base being trained by Canadians in Alberta? Pretty sure we did. I don't know what happened to that story, but I'm pretty sure it just evaporated like this entire thing. So let's just look into the article that is being written. The City TV News by Stephanie Ha writes, government House leader says there are more frustrated, you mean moles, conservative MPs amid floor crossing. Anyone else that crosses over either works for China or India. I'm not even kidding. Written by Stephanie Ha. Stephanie Ha. Wow. I wonder how much Xi Jinping and the MSS is paying you to write this, but whatever. Oh my gosh, is that a coincidence that Michael Ma met with Chinese ambassadors 3 days ago before crossing the floor? Then you have Gary, the Pakistani, who literally is an autopen. He's like the Joe Biden of like the Liberal Party, who basically is taking your guns away, and he doesn't even know what you need in order to have a gun in Canada. He's literally just a moron placed, just like the entire Senate, just like our entire shadow government that has been taken over, just like all of the appointed judges that have been taken over. And the minute I went on InfoWars and I basically said that the courts, even though they ruled the EA unconstitutional, there has been absolutely no one that was held accountable for it. Why? Because we have been couped. The Canadian people are under a coup. They are under a coup from a foreign interfering government. Some of you white Canadians, like Sean Fraser, you sold out piece of shit. Yeah, you're one of them too. So the next MP to cross the floor, look into who they're actually working for. Are they working for MSS or some like other Indian company? Because this is exactly what is happening in Europe. Except instead of using Indians to infiltrate, they're using sub-Saharan Africans and Pakistanis to absolutely cull Europe. And now the EU is saying, ooh, we're so strong. Like, y'all are dumb. And it's all going to come out to light eventually. But then it's going to be too late. And then you're going to be a communist state.
Here's the reality that hurts the most. Canada didn't become poor overnight. It happened slowly, year after year, while people were distracted, divided, and busy surviving. Wages didn't keep up. Housing exploded. Food became unaffordable. Taxes kept rising. And public services somehow got worse. But instead of admitting the system is failing, politicians gaslight you. They tell you the economy is strong. They tell you the numbers look good. They tell you to be grateful, patient, optimistic. Meanwhile, Canadians are burning through savings, working multiple jobs, delaying families, skipping meals, and losing hope. The truth is simple and brutal. No politician is coming to rescue the middle class. No government announcement will magically fix affordability. No election slogan will lower your rent or grocery bill tomorrow. Change only happens when people notice, speak up, and demand it. Canada used to be a place where hard work meant stability. Now, hard work barely means survival. And silence only guarantees things get worse. This isn't about left versus right. It's about reality versus denial. It's about everyday people versus systems that forgot who they serve. So don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking you're imagining this. If you feel poorer, you probably are. If life feels harder, it probably is. And if you're waiting for someone to save you, you'll be waiting a long time. But here's the good news. When people wake up, talk, and push back, systems change. If this video resonated with you, share it. Drop a comment with your experience. Are you better off or worse off than 5 years ago? And subscribe to Canadian Rant for honest conversations about what's really happening in Canada. Because nobody is coming to save Canadians, except Canadians themselves